live. Awesome for all these fans to join us again live in studio.
Live and
Live
in
in
studio. They
studio.
never disappoint. Every day, every week.
Every day, every day, every week. They are here when we are recording. Always a great time when we have fans here live with us.
I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm a
Actually, for
fan.
those who don't know, you know what day it is today?
It
Obviously,
is.
it's Wednesday, but if you haven't, check out Adam's Movie News Monday that just premiered this past Monday on the 5th. Very, very exciting stuff. He is doing God's work here. And honestly, I was really, really great to wake up, put on the YouTube. God, I sound like an old person. Put on, go on YouTube and watch our video for about 10 to 15 minutes and catch up on this week's news or news that you missed out on the previous week. So I found some new stuff about a couple things coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you, Adam, for keeping us in the now and keeping us informed. And I'm really, really, really proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole point. Like I said, first things first, I apologize because to anybody who watched Movie News Monday and the realized how pixelated the video was, that was it should have been a lot better. I do apologize for that. Uh,
Trial and error.
yeah,
Okay, nothing
that's
is perfect in the first go. This podcast
it's
definitely was. We were so nervous. We were in your mom's kitchen or
yeah,
in your own kitchen
yeah. We
recording
were
the first episode.
in my on my dining room table is
Yeah.
where
Oh,
episode
yeah, that's
one.
right. Not
But
the, not the
I
kitchen.
still have that archive footage.
Good.
I
Keep it
have it.
archived.
I have it. I have that archive footage. It's back when I had red hair. Uh,
Yeah, that was,
I think I had cut most of it off, but there was still some of it on. But no,
and it
yeah.
was during quarantine, so you can tell that we were all kind of going through stuff.
We were definitely in the midst of a pandemic. Hey, maybe we'll release that episode someday.
Like a
You know,
re-release? We should
not
try to
like a
reenact it.
re-release, but the video, because we have the video. I still have that video. So
Uh,
maybe we'll release it one of these days. We'll see. Maybe on the 3 year anniversary of the podcast, we'll hit you guys with episode 1 and what we talked about, because a lot of the stuff we talked about is stuff that continuously we still talk about. It's crazy because I think we even mentioned Spider-Verse in the first episode. Here we are almost 3 years later into the podcast, and we just saw it. But back to
yeah.
Movie News Monday. For those of you who tuned in, thank you so much. I feel like did pretty decent for a Monday views, so I do appreciate that. If you haven't already, and you're listening to this podcast or are watching it, it's a YouTube exclusive, so you're gonna have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel to be able to watch these videos. Same thing when Miguel's TV Inquiry comes out; it's gonna be YouTube exclusive. We are not gonna be offering
And
audio.
keep those notifications on
Yes.
because you won't want to miss.
Speaking of, my mom just told me today, or excuse me, when we were recording this episode, that she has the bell notifications on already on us, and I just thought it was so funny because she's just
I
like,
have it
"Oh,
on ours too.
you know
On
what?
my personal YouTube account, I have ours.
I just turned on mine when after she had told me she had hers on. It's because I thought it was just funny that she had them on. She, oh yeah, I got the notification that you released the new show, and I was like, oh, I was just like, that's funny, like, she's just like, I was like, have you watched it yet though? And then she's like, no, and then but
But at least she wasn't notified, and you know
yeah,
what? It's
yeah.
very, very helpful because it does put some, especially when you have a lot of subscribers or when you have a lot of subscriptions. I mean, you tend to kind of just throw back a couple of things. And what I do like and dislike about that is what I like is that I can binge watch, but what I dislike is when there's a new episode, I'm like, damn it, I want more, And it's just that finding that balance of things. So obviously with us, you're going to be getting content 3 times a week. Clearly, sometimes you're going to be getting 4 with movie releases because we will have TV Inquiry on Thursdays. We have Movie News Monday starting on Monday. And then we have our weekly releases on Wednesday. And then whenever we do have a premiere, we have those on Friday. So
An occasional spoiler Fridays.
overwhelming abundance of us, and I
Yeah.
hope you don't get tired of us. And literally subscribe because it really does help us, and it gets us mentioned and it gets us thrown around, and it's only going to get us bigger. So thank
Hmm.
you again for
Yeah.
tuning with us weekly. We really
No,
do appreciate it.
really, really, it's such a humbling experience when you guys continue to watch, like, because I see the stats all the time, and it's so much appreciated to see how much you guys are engaging in it, watching it, and all that, and even on the download side, it's just like you guys have really been lately been just killing it on the download side, so it's also appreciative, and it's just like, and again, like we said, the whole theme of season three was more content more frequently. We got stuff that we're just going to continuously roll out. Like Miguel said, we got a plethora of shows on the
Oh,
way.
that's a big word.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love
Uh,
using big words and like using them correctly.
but yeah, guys, again, if you already haven't, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and on Twitter and TikTok. Our TikTok and Instagram are at Real Addiction, and our Twitter is at Our Real Pod. So just please continue just to show us some support. And again, I know we've said it, but I'm gonna not figure out a way, but I'm gonna get back to the drawing board to get you guys more involved. So one, we can have more guests on, and two, we can maybe get in some callers again to get you guys on. And or if you just want to submit any questions to us, we're gonna have a something. I'm gonna create something that is always available for you to just give us questions, and we'll answer them at the beginning of all the podcasts whenever we get one. Just to have you guys more involved, get you guys talking more, and just continue to get this rolling. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are our production crew, so it's just like that's the whole thing, So we are for our supporters, we
Speaking
want them
about
to
getting
be.
the ball rolling, how about we get the ball rolling on this
I know,
episode?
yeah. We got a fun one for you. There's a lot going on. A little different in terms of our final topic. But we got box office, we got Spider-Verse reception, and some kind of updated thoughts from both me and Miguel. For the film, we have Oppenheimer gets its official rating, which is pretty interesting. The Rock and why he's coming back to Fast and Furious. Lastly, it is a little different. We do have some tech talk. We're going to be talking the Apple keynote that happened on Monday with its software keynote. Pretty interesting stuff. Actually, they did release some insight on very big hardware coming out early 2024. So we're going to be talking about that because it is interesting. We're going to get into it in terms of it, but it could affect the way we watch films and television shows.
Honestly,
Um,
yeah, it is. This could possibly even ripple the movie industry,
I
movie theaters in
agree.
general,
I agree.
potentially, and how that will benefit the market or won't. We'll get into that as well.
Definitely. But Miguel, go ahead, kick us off with the box office.
Yeah, I'm taking the honor of doing the box office this week, so bear with me because I'm tiptoeing. But coming in at number five, you guys, we got Fast X, or Fasten Your Seatbelts, as we like to call it. We still should have gotten that title, but you know what? Here we are. Its domestic value right now, its gross is at 128 million with 465,765 dollars out. Internationally, it's 474 million. Worldwide, it's 603. What are your thoughts on this so far? The fact that it's still in top five, even though this was a May release, and now we're entering the first weeks of June.
I'm going to be honest. It is. I'm surprised that Guardians outperformed it.
Really? I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not.
Just because the Fast X is a lot fresher. It's newer in theaters, so it's just like I'm kind of a little shocked. Obviously, again, the reception for Guardians has been a lot more praise than it has been for Fast X, so I'm not too surprised with this. But I mean, like you said, it's at 603 million, so it's just like obviously successful.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, they're not stopping anytime soon.
Absolutely not. And of course, we got a confirmation that there will be two more additions to this franchise with a potential spinoff. So I know
at
we got
at
a
the
couple of things
very
about that.
least, the very least.
Yeah. But
Um,
as Adam said, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes in at number four, outperforming Fast X with a domestic value of $322 million Internationally, it's 457, and worldwide, it's 780. It's been officially a month already of the movie's release, and it's still within the top five of the box office. So that's really impressive. Again, if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it's one of my favorite movies thus far into 2023. And it's a really good send off to the Guardian family. The dog days are over for those who have seen it, but that doesn't mean that the dog is gone. So please check it out. I mean, what do you think on this? Too, this is pretty great. I mean, 4 weeks already in, and it's still within the top five. Do you consider possibly seeing this movie entering the billion?
No, we just got too much coming out in these next couple weeks. It's gonna be cycling out soon. I feel like it already kind of is.
Would
But
you place it at number five still, possibly with the release? Of course, we have Transformers Rise of the Beast coming out literally tomorrow.
yeah.
So,
No, because like another film on this list is definitely getting knocked out. In my opinion,
mm,
next week. Um, but I think I think with Guardians, I'm surprised it's not at five. But again, it's just like, but it's less than it's a little over 1 million that separates Fast and Guardians. So it's like, they were neck and neck with one another. But still, it's just like I'm surprised. I'm glad it made 780 million. I'm hoping that this is gonna kind of steamroll Marvel to kind of start making quality film as opposed to just pump them out. It is a little hard because the writer strike is still going on. So it's just like I don't know, what how this is gonna affect writing. Obviously, it's been affecting writing films, but there's still more to unravel. With this.
absolutely. Coming in number three is a new movie that came out this weekend. If you haven't checked it out, it's called The Boogeyman. International, I mean, domestically, it made $12 million. Internationally, it made seven, and worldwide altogether is coming up to 20 million. So far, it's been well received. Rotten Tomatoes has given it a good score, considering the fact that it is a thriller and it is summer in a sense now officially, and we're entering that summer, vibe of movies where typically during summer releases, it's always just action packed movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see a contender within the horror genre, especially within the thriller genre. Guillermo del Toro has actually voiced it. The movie again is a really good movie adaptation of this, and especially because of the director, he is normally known to do found footage films. And this is a very different change of pace for him. And I think he was able to definitely branch out from a couple articles that I read and really personify a new version of the Boogeyman. So for those who are interested, go check it out this weekend. I might go catch a showing this week, and I'll definitely let you know my thoughts on that. But what do you think about this, Adam?
Gonna be skipping it.
Are you gonna see it?
No, absolutely not. I
The
am too
day that Adam
scared.
sees a horror movie with
Well,
me, or at
I
least on
mean,
his own.
I saw Smile. I saw Smile.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that was
you know,
great.
that was
Now,
scary though.
now do another one.
We will see. No, in all honesty, I think The Nun will get me out to a horror film in
The Nun
theaters.
too.
Yeah, it's just because I like the Conjuring universe. That's some real stuff, real scary stuff in my opinion. But
Yeah.
that has enough of my interest. But okay, I will go out and I will see him and I will sit through the pain of being scared.
I just
Um,
like for example, I like movies that freak you out, but not just through jump scares. And this is one of the movies that has been praised to be a movie that is frightening by using claustrophobic like by giving a claustrophobic view to the audience and building off that tension and working around. And that's when I love when movies freak you out like that, because that's when it works
mhm,
personally. And it's creative and it's inventive and it's pushing the boundaries of just like sitting in a movie theater and getting scared by a loud noise.
yeah,
It's also narratively involved as opposed to being just like, hey, all the cliches that make up horror movies and genres and why they get diminished sometimes are completely, thrown out, and then there's room for improvement and surprise. So I'm excited for this movie, especially because you guys know me. I love horror. I love thrillers. I love mysteries. I love all that encapsulated in one. And that's why I always turn to fiction whenever I read books because that is my go-to all the time. So
No, yeah, definitely. I'm not familiar with any of other Rob Savage's work. Um, I mean, like you said, he it does. I mean, looking at what he's done, it does look like a lot of it is found footage style films. So I mean, hey, if this is a different change in his direction, and this helps jumpstart something that a hidden talent of his. Not saying that he doesn't have talent, but something that allows him to excel. Not in a different style of filmmaking that he's not used to. Then hey, I think that's even better.
right, definitely. Coming in at number two is The Little Mermaid. Um, Domestically, it's earned $186 million dollars. Internationally, it's raised $140 million dollars, and worldwide, it's reached 326 million. The film's been out for about 10 days and a week and a half since its release date. I finally was able to catch a showing this previous weekend, and I immediately left the movie theater completely overwhelmed. Just to give a quick little review. It felt a little fast paced, and the third act was a slightly anticlimactic. However, what saved the movie is Halle Bailey's performance as Ariel and the chemistry that she had with Prince Eric. Uh, and overall, I think I was very impressed visually. There is obviously CGI included, but there's also a lot of motion capture involved as well. And I think it had a really good balance, and I haven't stopped listening to the soundtrack. So I definitely recommend you guys checking it out. I don't know if you're gonna check it out, Adam,
I still need to.
but
It was
I gave you my
weird.
review. I gave you my review. I was literally in my car for like 5 minutes, like in gay panic.
um, no, yeah. We were supposed to do a review on it, but we got just super busy on that back end of the week. The both of us when we when this film came out. So it's just like our personal lives just got the best of us, not being able to just get to the theater in time. Maybe, hey, you know what? Then like, there's something like I'll pit. No, I won't even bring it up. Actually, on this, I'll bring it up off camera. Is what I'll say. Is what I'm gonna say. But no, yeah, I'm sure it's
Well,
getting
now
a
you
lot
got the
of.
view. Now you get the listeners invested. What
No,
could you
that's
like?
okay. We'll talk about it off camera. But no, a lot of people are praising this film. A lot of people are loving it. I haven't seen it. Obviously, it's kind of hard with Disney live action just because of the rate that they've been at. Obviously, we both expressed interest in it prior to just saying how good it does look. And how true it does feel. So I'm gonna get out to the theater to see it eventually, and I know that. I just don't know when. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just like I do want to see it. It does look good, and it's one of many still to come for live actions.
Of course, and even on Movie News Monday to reference your episode, you did bring up a couple live adaptations that are on the board on the
Yeah.
being storyboarded basically, and it's exciting. And I will be honest, it is probably the best live adaptation of the animations thus far.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a couple favorites that people like The Jungle Book or even The Lion King. But honestly, I feel like this one definitely captured the heart of The Little Mermaid and did everything right,
Mm-hmm.
including with a couple new songs that were composed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And I will praise it because at the end of the day, too, what saved this movie was Halle's performance as Ariel, and I think she's magnificent, and I can't wait to see her in more. I know she's coming out with The Color Purple, and that's also directed by Steven Spielberg. I saw the full trailer during while I was waiting for the Little Mermaid to start, and it just looks fantastic on screen like that. And I will say it might even be contender two in terms of Oscar worthy nominations. Not the Little Mermaid, but in terms of the color purple. We'll see. Um, Not to diminish the work of the Little Mermaid either. That might even sneak up too. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But with Steven Spielberg's direction, especially uh, with West Side Story that happened last year, you know, he definitely took notes and applied it to that. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll go with number one, and I'll start. I feel like it's not a surprise to everybody here. We talked about it last
Yeah.
episode. We
Yeah.
talked about it on Friday. For Friday's release, we did a spoiler. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out because we will talk about it a little bit But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a solid $120 million. Internationally, it made 88, and worldwide, it's made $208 million so far. We've praised it. The internet has praised it. People are getting really hyped about this movie. And it comes to no surprise, and I think we mentioned it prior to that it didn't get the heart and like the validation that it did when it first released 5 years ago. And now people are watching the first one and
Yeah.
watching this one and comparing, contrasting, but still, honestly, pretty good follow up, pretty good sequel. And there's no surprise. Do you see this movie hitting possibly the billion?
Uh, Billions far fetched. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna say it touches 600 easily though, because it's on track to beat Into the Spider Verse, and
I
it's
mean, it's
not
already
gonna slow
domestic,
down.
right?
Yeah.
Its
Um,
weekend release was already bigger than the original, than the first one.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like I mentioned a little bit on Movie News Monday as well, but we've mentioned multiple times on the podcast is that Into the Spider Verse did not get its praise, its flowers until it hit streaming services and people had it available just to watch at home. After watch, I know, and I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast when we recorded it. When we released it Friday. But it's clear that Sony's animation Spider-Man, and this is no pun intended, is miles ahead of what they're doing with the live action.
Absolutely.
It's just like after this, it's just like because I was always when No Way Home came out, I was like, okay, this might be the best. But after this installment, I think it just kind of reiterated that Into the Spider Verse is just like the best Spider-Man film we've ever gotten, and this is the second best, and then everything else just kind of comes in and kind of not staggered, but comes in slowly, after that.
Yeah. I'm
This,
really excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse because now to see the film as a trilogy, it just changes completely a narrative.
mhm,
And if you start from the beginning and get to Beyond the Spider-Verse, I just know it's just gonna be insane. And if it takes, I mean, the fact that they've been working on it back to back and it will be released by March of next year,
yeah,
I'm super thrilled because I honestly thought we were gonna probably wait another year. But the fact that we were waiting less than a year, it's just like, yes, keep this
yeah.
train going. I'm taking it all the way to the end.
No, yeah, definitely. Well, originally, you have to remember too, this was supposed to release in October of 2022, and we were supposed to be getting a Beyond the Spider Verse with Across on in June. So of what we got last week. So it's just like I think waiting a year is pretty good. Keeps the anticipation going. Before you know it, it's gonna be March is gonna be here because
Yeah.
we're just movies and movies and movies are just continuously coming out. That it's just like every week feels like there's something new. So before we know it, we're gonna be through the 52 movies, less than 52 because it is less than a full calendar year. But yeah, I mean, to just talk about like you say, it's like people are loving this film. Just a couple of things, it's just like this. If you look on like Rotten Tomatoes, it's rated at a 95 with the critics and a 96 with the audience. So finally, if
There's an agreement. Finally,
exactly
the
an
first movie that is
undeniable
an agreement.
agreement. Yeah, not only that, it is Letterboxd's top-rated movie ever, I believe.
Yeah,
It's also
definitely.
IMD. It's in IMDb's top 10 superhero films of like all time. So it's just like people are loving this film. I think this has to do with the how Into the Spider Verse got its flowers late. How people were very excited for this one. I feel like when if as many people that are going to see Across the Spider Verse had went to go see Into the Spider Verse, this is what Into the Spider Verse would have gotten for its flowers
Absolutely.
originally. However, it's not bad. It's not like I'm not like complaining or anything because like these Into the Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse are just they're just ahead. They this is storytelling at its finest. They it's just like I know we talked about how it was a little slow. Well, I talked about how it was a little slow in the beginning. The film took a while to cook, and when it finally finished cooking, we were reaping the rewards at the end because it was insane with that film.
I love that saying. It's always so fun.
Yeah,
Let them cook.
Yeah, and that's what it did. It's like Across the Spider Verse's first half is it's a slow, it's like a rotisserie chicken, just slowly cooking. And when you're finally able to enjoy that chicken, like you're reaping those rewards, man. It was just like it was insane. It's just like it was one of the best uh uh, not I wouldn't say
One of my best experience this year so far, because
it's
Guardians is
yeah,
up there as well, but this is like so far top one, and then like Guardians is like two, and I
yeah.
think Little Mermaid is like three.
Yeah. However, this is something interesting because you complained about the audio and the audio for yours for your IMAX showing. I didn't have any issues. I saw it. I've seen it in Dolby and IMAX now, but you're not the only one. I had sent you a tweet about how people were
The
complaining about
audio
the
being too
audio.
low. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it did. It was I mentioned this during our spoiler review. I was like kind of I mean I was close to the back of the movie theater, but not as far back, and I was still having a hard time listening getting the audio because I think what was having a mess up was like the audio whenever they would speak, and then the background, like the score or either the music that was chosen during a specific scene, it wouldn't really balance out and translate as well.
Hmm.
But I'm glad to know I wasn't the only one, and I hope they fix that because this movie is definitely we're praising it, but then there's always technicalities that happen that can be an easy fix, and I want everybody to have exactly the same movie experience, if not better. You
Yeah.
know,
The last film I remember people complaining about audio was Dune. Um, so I
the
mean,
last film I had trouble with, or at least like I needed subtitles, was that Christopher Nolan movie um
oh my goodness.
with Robert Pattinson
Yeah,
and
what is it called? I'm completely blanking on the name.
I'll get you right
Uh,
now. It was Nolan's. It was like Insurgent. It wasn't Insurgent.
I want to say Extraction, but that's the Chris Hemsworth film. Um,
Tenet.
yeah, there we go. Tenet. Yeah, yeah.
There it is. Yeah,
Okay.
Tenet was a hard watch. I remember seeing it. And it was the first movie that actually released during the pandemic, and everybody was scared to go see it
Yeah.
because it was a Christopher Nolan movie. Everyone was like, "We got to go see it." So I went to go see it in Chula Vista,
Hmm.
and I was just having such a hard time. I was like, "What are they saying?" I
Huh.
couldn't. It was the dialogue. I don't know whether it was because of speech or just the audio, but that was a hard watch. And I'm finally glad I was able to watch it with subtitles because I was like, oh, the story makes sense now. I'm like,
Yeah. No, definitely. But it's been insane. Like it's crazy because you never like some like you don't always get like run into these issues with like audio sounds, but when you do, they stand out and you kind of remember the films that like you were like that.
100%.
Yeah, so it's just like interesting, pretty interesting thing, when something like this happens, Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, go see the Spider-Man Cross the Spider-Verse. It's a really great movie.
yeah.
And if you haven't checked it out, go watch a review for it. We'll give you full details on what we like, what we didn't like.
Check out
Even
our
though
review. Nobody else's. Our check out our Real Addictions review on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse,
of
or else we
course.
will send pizzas to your house. So
Well, hold up.
I'm just kidding.
We'll send coupons because
we
we got coupons.
You're right. We'll send coupon pizzas
It's just
for your
scan the
house.
QR code and you get
Yeah.
like $10 off the next time in an order.
Yeah.
No paid partnership yet.
No paid partnership yet is the key. Yet is the key word. Looking at you,
I watched a TED
Domino's.
talk about the power of yet
Yeah.
and in college.
Really?
And yeah, it really motivated me to get my degree. I haven't yet.
Baby steps. Baby steps. We're almost there. Almost there.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Kick us off with the second topic, man. This one's
This is the annoying. This is the most annoying topic of the episode. So Dwayne Johnson had a cameo in Fast X at the end. That he is returning to the Fast and Furious franchise. It's super convenient that he has had multiple failed projects, and now he's returning to the Fast and Furious project family because of it. However, he took on the Instagram last week
oh
to say
God.
that he's coming back, but he also announced, and this is the reason he came back. So obviously, Dwayne and Vin have officially squashed their beef, but it feels like Vin had to go out and agree to this, or give them the okay for this to happen. Point is, Dwayne Johnson is getting his own standalone Luke Hobb films that's an untitled it's gonna set up Fast X Part 2. Uh,
Oh, so it's kind of like for example, it's gonna probably underperform like Captain Marvel between Infinity War and Endgame.
well,
I
Captain
hope.
Marvel made $1 billion.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Just because Captain Marvel's a bad film does not mean it didn't make money. This is not in this same situation. This is probably another like $300 million film for Dwayne Johnson. In all honesty, especially with the train wreck that what Hobbs and Shaw was. Now we're getting
And
a
Shazam.
Hobbs.
I'm just
Yeah. Well,
kidding.
yeah, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Oh no, not Shazam,
I
Black
mean,
Adam.
sorry, Black Adam.
But yeah, Black Adam. Fury of the Gods was pretty decent in my opinion. Just decent. Just decent, actually. It's a decent film. It's not bad. There's way worse out there, I will say. But no, yeah, this is interesting because again, it kind of just feels like, hey, I'm only returning unless you give me another film. That's what I'm kind of reading in
Which
between
is
the
such an
lines.
annoying thing, man. Like,
Yeah,
why can't you just cooperate and like be like? I get it. I just don't understand when Dwayne Johnson suddenly thinks he's like, I don't, I don't
in
want to say
in
anything I'm gonna regret.
no,
Like
but
such
he
a
thinks,
powerhouse, you know. Like
yeah,
he's giving such diva performances, but they're all one note.
yeah,
You know, in his head, he's delusional. And yeah, moviegoers will go see him, but you see every movie that Dwayne Johnson's in, and he's wearing that one brown shirt, and then it's just him
yeah,
playing himself. Which, granted, too, I mean, there are characters like that. There are other actors that are just like that. You see them in every role, but sometimes for them it works, you know?
yeah.
Um, I started uh
It's just a
Poker
little,
Face,
yeah. I mean, it's just a
and
little
the Natasha
frustrating.
Lyonne, her character as is almost like playing herself but still has enough depth, and that's one example that I can say that is different.
Hmm.
And then you see doing the Rock Johnson, and you just see one note.
Yeah.
I guess except the exception would have been Moana.
Yeah, but that's a voice role. Like it doesn't take much to like if you the only thing you're focusing on is like voice acting, it's going to be a lot easier as opposed to, show up to an actual set and have to give that body language that it does take for people who are doing actual like live action films. It's just like I feel like with animation, like you can tweak that, you can create that. You can create that emotion in a studio as opposed to you have to create that chemistry on set. Like you say, Dwayne Johnson is a one note actor. He is the same character in every single film that he is in. He wants to be the superhero and the center of attention in every single film that he's in. But every franchise that he's touched, he has somewhat ruined. He ruined the DC. He was ruined to all his other films. They gave him Jumanji, which did okay in my opinion. And now he's returning to the Fast and Furious franchise because nobody is gonna want to give him a film after this. At the end of the day, Dwayne Johnson's just a name. It's just a flex to put on your movie posters now. There's really no talent when it comes to him. No offense. Uh, you
I
know.
want him to perform well, though. That's the thing. Like, I'm
No,
rooting
yeah, of
for him,
course.
but it's like getting to the point where, my guy, you have to do something different. You have
Yeah.
to push yourself and your boundaries, uh, and explore. Like, do a genre that's different. If I was his PR team, I'd be like, look, dude, you got to get out of these franchises. Like, do it for the money and then go and do something completely different.
Yeah, but he doesn't need the money to.
I know he doesn't need the money, but in terms of like just like how maybe he wants people to like you know, take him seriously
Yeah.
as an actor. Maybe he does, maybe he don't, but I'm assuming that that's his problem right now, the complexity of him and how he's kind of typecast, you know?
No, yeah, for
Um,
sure. I think he allows himself to be typecasted though. Because like look at what like Dave Bautista can do. It's just like Dave Bautista has a bunch of range. So Dave Bautista by far is the best wrestling actor that came out of the WWE, without a doubt. He's got
100%.
range. He can do a lot
John
of stuff.
Cena's almost there too.
But
I
there's
mean,
a but
like,
there's a decent gap between Batista and John Cena for sure. There's also a decent gap between John Cena and The Rock. So it's
Oh,
just like
Miles.
they're it's clear who's 1, 2, and 3. The Rock is 3, but The Rock's name is the biggest. So it's just like that's still the only thing. Like obviously, like I want to see The Rock succeed. I think he just has to give in to him actually being the bad guy in some films. So
We're
it's
gonna
just like,
get so much hate from. He's probably gonna like. I don't like. I don't know if he's ever gonna get to listen to this, but maybe at some point he's like, "Oh, let's see what these little nerds have to say about this." And then he's like, "You guys are trash."
oh, like, don't make a don't give us performances that are the same. I wouldn't be criticizing the same thing. I'm not going to criticize something that's if he was doing something different, at least I'd be able to admit he tried something out of his approach of what he's used to doing.
Yeah, like take notes
So
from Batista when he did the M. Night Shyamalan movie. He did so good in that movie.
yeah, or when he did
So
Stuber,
good.
you
He
know,
did fantastic. I mean, geez, he made me believe this character was real and his emotions were portrayed so well. I mean, and even too in The Glass Onion,
yeah.
stereotypical but different at the same time.
It's in the
Uh,
situation of like, look, I want to see Brie Larson succeed, even in the MCU, but I can admit her portrayal as Captain Marvel has been very, very less than what she can do, what she's used to. The Rock came from the WWE, dude. Like you guys are basically live action acting performers. It's just like you can cut a promo. You have a lot of personality. We don't see that in any of his films. That's the biggest criticism I have on him, is that we
um,
see none of his personality in these films. But
hmm,
yeah, you know,
yeah. Coming
moving
in
on.
at moving on with
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
yeah. So
Uh,
Oppenheimer has earned its first rating, or got in its rating. It's a couple things on it. It's rated R. Nolan's first film in over 20 years to be rated R. Have you heard about the IMAX printout for this film?
no, 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 no.
So
That
couple things. They're gonna be having a couple special showings of it in 70 millimeter IMAX, the IMAX aspect, and it comes in at 11 miles long and
Oh
weighs
yeah, I did hear about that.
600 pounds. This comes from Variety. It comes from a Variety article online by Zach Scarf or Sharf. But he went on to write that Nolan's Oppenheimer is officially rated R. Variety has confirmed this with Universal Pictures. Nolan's first film for the studio after a lengthy tenure at Warner Bros., where he directed such as tentpoles such as Interstellar, Interception, and the Dark Knight trilogy. Oppenheimer will be his first rated R film since his 2002 film Insomnia.
Insomnia.
Yeah. Um, pretty interesting. I kind of want to see this film in the 70.
I think we should. I
Yeah,
mean,
that'd be
I think
pretty
that would
awesome.
be best, especially because I mean, there's many factors that can contribute as to why this movie got a rated R,
Hmm.
a rating such as an R-rated film. It could be because of the science behind it. It could be because of the aftermath of it. It could even be because of language. But the
Yeah.
fact that the trailer gives off a PG-13 rating and it's giving a rated R, now we have to see it. I think it's, if anything, it's smart publicity
Hmm.
because it's like, okay, now why? However, I was reading an article by The Independent, and it's written by Lewis Chilton, posted 2 days ago. Some fan reactions, as much as you can see, as much as you can hear, basically is saying that, are stating, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting it to be the usual PG-13. Other people are saying that they're shocked. Nothing in those trailers made the movie seem like it was rated R. It looked intense, emotional, PG-13 thriller. I'm stunned. And another person commented, honestly, I'm pretty shocked because I thought Nolan just made PG-13 movies, with the exception of Insomnia and Memento. But it does kind of also alter in terms of just like ratings higher than PG-13 are often said to hinder a film's prospects at the box office. Oppenheimer is being released in cinemas on the same day as Greta Gerwig's Barbie, leading many analysts to speculate over which of the two films will end up winning the battle of the box office for the #1 spot. Now, for the UK, an R rating is roughly equivalent to a 15. although age ratings for any one film vary depending on the discretion of each country's rating bodies. A PG-13, meanwhile, is considered more or less equivalent to a 12A in the UK. So this is also kind of channeling over the rating systems in other countries as well, and how much of that will hinder or increase in terms of like um, the prospects for the film internationally and domestically,
Yeah.
which is a pretty good point of view. However, I mean, like, I know teenagers are fans, but obviously there's probably ways around it.
Yeah. I think like
Bring your parent.
With Christopher Nolan in the sense it's just like it's not like he's coming out and you're gonna be creating like I don't want to say like like all rated R like our raunchy films that have like nudity and stuff like that, but you're not but like this isn't gonna like be like if like it does have like something like nudity or does have some like some sex scenes like stuff like that, that's not gonna be the center point of the film. And I think like with the film style that Christopher Nolan is like that's not like it's going to be something because it's probably going to be based off of real life events. If
Yeah,
like, and
and
this is what I kind of think of is just like, I have an idea, like the reason it got a rated R rating is because we might be seeing the bombing of Hiroshima.
I was speculating
And
that too. I was wondering if possibly that is one, which honestly,
which would be
because
intense to see. Um,
yeah, and it's probably why it gives it that R rating
yeah.
because of those events.
Yeah, for sure. Which would be interesting. I mean, I don't want to sound like insensitive, but it's going to be a terrifyingly beautiful scene. It's just like like, because not like the what happened. Gosh, that sounds wrong. But the
Yeah, we should
explosion is gonna
redact
look like
that.
really really good, and then we're gonna see like the chaos that actually happens to the people on here. What happened to Hiroshima? The
What
people
we
in.
have to remember is that this movie, although it's being made by Christopher Nolan and it has that, that infamousy of just like, oh, all these movies are very like he's very centered on recreating things,
Yeah,
his direction of thought of it all. I think what is being overlooked at this movie is basically kind of just a crime against humanity,
yeah,
literally.
yeah,
And it's the self destruction of humanity and the events that followed, and just kind of resurfacing that a story point where it's like, look, you guys, this is murder. This is what happened. And now we have to really think about the position about why these nuclear heads are even there in the first place, creating that conversation too through a visually stunning movie.
yeah. One
Um,
hundred percent.
it's almost going to be like defamation in a sense, but he already did that. The movie
Yeah,
is called Oppenheimer. Like,
yeah, for
this
sure.
man is known.
Uh,
Uh,
Without a
and
doubt, people
it's
are
just
like,
going to be like, oh, and then it kind of goes back to just like the education system too, where things are kind of blanked out.
yeah,
There's a book in college that I took that I read from my American Studies class called "Lies My Teacher Told Me,"
mm-hmm,
and it's basically a retelling of the U.S. history from the very beginnings of colonization.
mm-hmm,
Literally, the first chapter is called the Red Tears, and it's just kind of just an actual retelling of what was not included within the history books that the education system provides for public schools or private. Um, and it's a very interesting, fascinating read, but it's also like, oh, clearly there is a navigation to that in terms of the education system and what was left out and what was, because of obvious reasons. But this is probably going to put things back in the map in terms of like, oh, okay, and obviously the information's out there already. The internet is big a phenomenon and everybody can just Google exactly what happened. But there's also, there's also this version of storytelling um, and recounting of what really happened. So
yeah.
that's a very interesting perspective to consider when watching this movie.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, because like the way I look at it is just like Christopher Nolan knows what he's doing as a filmmaker. It's just like again, he's gonna tell a true story. This is the true story of the creation of the bomb. And it's just like there's so much that's gonna go into this film. It's gonna be incredible. Just to see what it is. As sad as the story is, it's just like and it sucks because like like I have like there's always like that other side of the coin where families who were affected by their ancestors who were in the in the bombings, or the survivors from World War II, from the bombing of Hiroshima. It's just like there's always that flip side of like that there is going to be some sort of people who are going to be offended by this film. We saw it with when oh my gosh, Taika Waititi did Jojo Rabbit, where people were offended because he took this take on Hitler, and it's just like it's understandable. It's unfortunate. Just at the end of the day, like I have a feeling there's going to be some backlash on the film, but as a filmmaker, it's just like sometimes you go into that uncharted water territory, so it's just like you know people are still going to see this film.
Right, 100%. And I mean, we're gonna be tuning in. We're gonna be giving
Yeah.
you our thoughts too. Obviously, we talk about movies and we try our very best. This podcast is about movies in general, and everything that has to do with movies or television. We never try to get political at all. And then obviously there's some films like these that push the boundaries on that, but we'll do our best to keep it as movie friendly possible and just kind of dissect the movie for what it is and what it isn't,
Yeah.
and then go from there.
Yeah, we never say anything to obviously specifically offend anybody. But again, it's going to be a visually stunning film, and I'm sure the storytelling is going to be fine. But you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
my God. Speaking of the
I'm gonna
future,
have you close it out, and I'll knock out the quote unquote unimportant stuff. Uh, you know,
go
so
ahead.
so obviously Apple had a keynote on Monday, at the day of actually we're recording this episode. So there's a couple things worth mentioning. Mainly because of how many people are actually like iPhone users within like the U.S. Um, this is pretty interesting for what they're doing with their iOS 17. It is on the shorter side, which makes sense because the iPhone 14 was the redesign and the big iOS update, software update. This is a smaller one. However, there are some things worth mentioning, in my opinion. The biggest thing I'm gonna first start off with the phones that will no longer be supported for iOS 17. So they're finally getting rid of the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus, as well as the iPhone X. So the phones that are going to be offered for,
Damn.
yeah, I know it's like end of an era because like it feels like the iPhone X just came out a couple years ago. Uh, you know,
Oh my God. The iPhone 10, that was during our junior year.
was it?
Because, oh wait, no, I'm thinking about the iPhone 5.
No, it was
Oh
a
my
little. It
God.
was a little later. It was like 2017, 2018.
Oh, then yeah, the
The
iPhone
iPhone 10,
10.
yeah.
Oh,
But the
geez.
film, sorry, not the films, but the phones that are still going to be supported on iOS 17 are going to be the iPhone SE second and third gen, the iPhone XR, the iPhone XX Max and XS, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the iPhone 11 Pro, the iPhone 11, the 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro Max, the 12 Mini, the regular 12, the 13 Pro, the 13 Mini, the 13 Pro Max, the regular 13, the 14, the 14 Plus, the Pro Max, and the 14 Pro Max. So they're cycling out a lot of these a lot of these phones, which is pretty interesting because they're so again, Apple just continues to release newer modern stuff, and things are having shorter life cycles in their operating systems, or their support systems. I don't know how this is going to affect the repairs. I'm going to assume they are going to slow down. But if you're looking to get an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 10 like repaired, like maybe you should just consider one of the
Do it
newer
soon
phones.
or upgrade.
You know.
Eventually, the thing is with Apple is that they're gonna make you upgrade no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. At some point, it is very.
Yeah, you
You
can't
can't.
stick
Yeah,
around with the iPhone 6 anymore because then it underperforms, and then you also have issues. Like there's
yeah,
uh that you're gonna run into technical issues if you are more of the modern take of like not having the best next thing, and it works for you, then cool. But
yeah.
you might even branch out to other products that are not Apple that make you that are more suitable for you in terms of use, because it's all about being comfortable. But with Apple, it's always about being the next big thing.
No, yeah, definitely. Um, Believe it or not, I mean the iPhone 7 is still pretty popular. I'm gonna be honest, it's popular in the elderly community. I feel like a lot of people come in to my Geek Squad location with iPhone 7s, where they are looking to either get a battery replacement or doing some sort of repair. And it's just like, and I'm like amazed, they come in with the 7 or the 8. But it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's just like Apple is cycling these phones, not films.
And
These
speaking of repairs, though, not to cut you off, I don't
mm,
know if you noticed this, but on the general, with recent phones too, now there's a chance to purchase Apple Care for a monthly price.
Yeah, so you can do it for a $9.99 fee. So there's some ways around it. Like, so if you buy the phone, you have like 60 days to purchase it brand new. 60 days after you purchase it brand new. However, if you want to add Apple Care to it, you'd have to get a repair to it done first, and then add Apple Care to the device. So work would have you can't just like, oh, my phone is in perfect condition. Let me go ahead and add Apple Care on it. It doesn't necessarily work like that. At least in like a Geek Squad location. I don't know if Apple like has ways around it. We're unable to do that. However, you know it's still a good thing. In my opinion, it's better to have Apple Care than to have any other phone, like independent
Yeah.
phone insurances, just because it's just like my opinion, it's just a lot cheaper, especially if you're just paying $10 a month for Apple Care. Like it's super affordable,
Yeah.
especially with the pros with Apple Care now, where Apple got rid of you only get 2 incidences per year if you need
Right.
replacements. They went and like, hey, if you have Apple Care, you can come in and you can break your phone as many times as you like, as long as you pay the $99 deductible fee to get the phone replacement. You can do that, which is insane. I'm gonna read off some of the software side of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop my favorites. And some of them more like what are you doing? The biggest thing is like the Hey Siri situation. It's no longer you no longer have to say Hey Siri. You just have to say Siri. Hopefully my phone, none of my products go off. But no, yeah, kind of dumb in my opinion. Just to like drop that. I feel like me personally, I don't use it all that much. I'm gonna refer to it as it just
I
because I don't
use
wanna.
more of like holding down the button or on my
Same here.
watch
Yeah, yeah.
or clicking on your desktop. The Siri option is right there instead of saying the verbal action.
Yeah.
Um, but what else is new?
In my opinion, this is also pretty dumb. Improved autocorrect, and auto prediction on like what you're gonna type. It's just like I think that is just like because like how much well autocorrect there
You
are.
don't know me.
There are some bad spellers out there who would benefit from autocorrect. I'm a pretty big on like typos to where like I'll miss a word. But like the predictive chat has always been something, and it has predictive text now as well. It's gonna be more improved. You can also leave a live voicemail, and this is meant for anybody who is in like a meeting. Not this is what the idea came in mind. Like if you're in a meeting and somebody calls you, they leave a live voicemail, and then you can check to see if it's urgent or not. So what I mean by live voicemail, they're doing live inscriptions. So obviously, when you check your voicemail on an iPhone, you can see that they have you can see the inscription on what the voicemail says prior to you actually listening to it, so you can kind of get an idea of who called. You're going to be able to do this moments after they leave a voicemail. So that's pretty cool. I think that's going to help out a lot.
Credit card companies are gonna have a field day with it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Standby mode, which is personally one of my favorites.
It looks
Uh,
pretty cool.
Yeah, because you're gonna be able to have a watch calendar. You can have sports games, the live scores, also like up there, like on there. I don't know what stand they were using, the Apple one, in that presentation. But if it's a new stand coming out, I would bet that it is a new up and improved map. The last two that I think are worth mentioning are you can leave a FaceTime message. So when somebody doesn't answer your FaceTime, you can send them a recorded video, which I think is pretty funny and going to be pretty cool. I feel like people are going to get really, really, really creative, and we're going to see a lot of dumb videos surface on social media of people leaving leaving dumb videos, just funny videos. It's like they're just like handing it to us just to be, very irresponsible with these opportunities. They're going to be funny. Uh, Oh, sorry. There's two more things. AirDrop is also getting a big
An
update.
upgrade.
Yeah, I like this because in my opinion, this is going to help like for us to promote the podcast more, to be able to have people tap. It's just like where you can name drop information of yourself. So it's just like I think that is awesome because it's just like you can you can just tap and then boom, they have your contact information
Yeah,
where
your
they
LinkedIn
can.
information or,
Yeah,
just anything that can get you more in touch with people.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. The final thing before I'm going to hand it off to you, offline Apple Maps. This is probably my favorite and most useful thing because one thing Apple is very, very tried hard. They are working on is working on allowing our devices to be usable and not essentially bricks when there is no service. We saw it with the 14 and the the 14 Pro editions, and as well as the Apple Watch Ultra, where they have these SOS modes where you are still going to have some sort of access and you're going to be able to connect to satellites with your devices if you are stranded or if you don't have access to, internet or a phone server.
Does that also apply, for example, if your phone's dead or your watch dead?
You will still be findable, yes.
Okay.
If the devices are dead, so that's one thing they improved with iOS 16 when the 14 came out, is that your iPhones are going to be findable after the phone has been turned off or the phone has died. Again, this is one of like the smaller years. There's no upgrade, so like, hey, this is gonna be running on like an A17 or like an A18. I forget what A chip they're on. Um, but it's just like it's pretty interesting. There's some cool things in my opinion. I don't even want to mention the Mac OS because I just thought it was so stupid in what they're
They just
doing.
made the screen bigger, right?
That, and they're like adding widgets and stuff to the display, which is like, well, that is so busy for a desktop. So busy. It's so dumb in my opinion.
I like a clean desktop, not gonna
Same
lie. I
here.
like I like when things are organized in their folders, color coded, especially within folders, inside folders. That's me. That's always been me, and I've never been one to just have everything on the desktop like that. It's annoying.
Yeah. I'm going to hand it off to you because there's a lot to break down with what you're talking about.
Oh my God. So the biggest thing that came out of this whole keynote is Vision Pro, you guys. And literally, I'm reading this from the source at apple.com. Welcome to the era of spatial computing. This is probably one of the biggest game changers I've ever seen debut from Apple. It's completely a visionary experience that is so immersive to the point where it's bringing fantasies that you see in movies and bringing them to the real life. It's borderline Ready Player One in the best thing as the best thing comparable thing I can say about it. I was watching it this morning with my roommate, and we both were like, "I have no idea exactly what they're talking about. English, please," but I know what this is. The marketing is good for it because it has you intrigued, but it's very. I had a daunting feeling as when I was watching this because I felt like I was watching the beginning of something, and it really crept up my neck because the comparability of the headset looks a lot like the Ready Player One headset from the live action produced by Steven Spielberg, but also just in terms of like the comparisons that that book has in terms of how the fate of humanity will lead to. Um, and the best thing I can say before I really break down what it is just like it's kind of scary, right? I think I'm kind of worried about it, but it's also very innovative, and new. It's new, and it's probably why it's freaky. But it's almost giving the message that we're gonna eventually start losing human connection. There's gonna be more of that virtual reality realness applied, where as opposed to the books and what the message transcribed there is that you become an avatar and you go into these worlds immersively and you can feel things immersively within this. Here, they're applying it in real life to benefit you in your day-to-day task instead of being plugged in to become something else. You're plugging in order to make your life better in terms of just what you see, what you do, work wise, personal life, hobbies, all those things. But enough of my rant about that. Let's just really get into what's new, and hopefully you can help me out, Adam, with a couple things that were here.
Yeah.
But basically, you can navigate simply using your eyes, hands, and voice.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do things you love in ways never possible. You've never seen anything like this before. It's what it's quoting. It's going to be available early next year. Um, and
For
it's
how
pretty cool
much?
headset. Huh?
How much? How much is
Oh
this
my
gonna
God. Let me
set
tell you
me
that because that's
back?
exactly my question too when I was watching this. It is being listed at $3,500. 34.99 without tax. Obviously, with tax included, it's probably going to be like 350. No, 3,500, like $50 probably, maybe even more. Um, and it's crazy immersive. You're basically going to be having live apps in your space. It takes a sensory motion traction with spatial audio, but also with elements like your desktop, your bed, things that will make the while you have this Vision Pro headset on, basically feel like you're inside of a computer. So you'll be able to watch things and zoom out just by using your hands, or zoom it's like basically just like have like a huge zoom of like either your Safari uh, tab, your videos, your text messages. There was a little promotional ad that they debuted after the whole breakdown of the product. And there's this lady who's packing up her bags while wearing the headset. And as she's packing up, she gets an incoming call, FaceTime, and all she does is literally with her hand sends it up, puts like answers the phone, and she's having a conversation with this person. It also has a full visual recognition of your face. So I thought that was suspicious from a very from just like a word view, but it will have a full racial facial scanning, and it'll create a avatar whenever you're in meetings, and that will be what your whoever else has a Vision Pro will be seeing at the same time, and it'll have full momentum, almost like motion capture in a sense, and will replicate emotions while you're also speaking. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen so far. But it will also be the ultimate theater experience wherever you are. Uh, if you have anything connected, like your Apple TV or even like your audio, you're gonna probably forget about that because that's all gonna be included within the Vision Pro, and you're gonna have spatial audio with comfort, adjustability, and also too for people who have glasses like me, they're included a three link design within the I think the Vision Pro, where it's three different magnifications that if you have like astigmatism like I do, it'll correct it in order for you to use it. So you won't need your glasses while using this Vision Pro,
How
which was probably the
convenient.
craziest thing that I've read as well. What happened?
I said how convenient.
It's for sure convenient because I mean, for those people like for me, I have astigmatism. I can't really like wear anything that I need to like sunglasses are out unless they're prescribed, you know. Um, or even with like it's a little uncomfortable sometimes with like the IMAX glasses too, which are much more comfortable now and adjustable. But this is something crazy. There are much more information, but just kind of just to highlight things on that, it's basically pushing the boundaries of how we're going to be able to communicate. It might even trigger a domino effect with the movie industry, specifically movie theaters. A couple are already bankrupt. This might push it over, especially if it continues to be movie releases that are exclusively for streaming or go directly to streaming and still have a movie release date. People are going to be probably comfortable enough. Again, this is all speculation because it is priced at $3,500, and that is insane.
So it's pushing the boundaries mainly because it's gonna have more pixels than a 4K TV, and that's per eye. So it's gonna feature 23 million pixels, which is
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy to think. Obviously, it's gonna be in some sort of 4K, maybe even 8K at this point.
It was announced that it is about 4K to 8K visibility.
Okay. Yeah, which makes sense. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna criticize some of the look of it right now. First things first, I do like the overall design, like the way it looks like when somebody's wearing it. However, I hate the small little details. One of the biggest criticisms I have with Apple is how much they're using the crown button and the Apple Watch, like normal button. Like they're just slapping that on everything, and it annoys the
I
hell out of me. It annoys like I
really
hate seeing it on the AirPod Maxes. I hate seeing it on even this now, it's just like even the Apple Watch Ultra had updated designs of the crown. It's good for a watch. I hate seeing it on all their other products. However, of course, this thing looks cool. um
It's insane. The headband looks amazing. What I was trying to talk about in terms of like the um what it's saying it's pushing boundaries from the inside out. Its spatial experience on Vision Pro are only possible through groundbreaking Apple technology. Displays the size of a postage stamp that deliver more pixels than a 4K TV to each eye. Incredible advances in spatial audio, a revolutionary dual chip design featuring custom Apple silicon, a sophisticated array of cameras and sensors. All elements work together to create an unprecedented experience you have to see to believe. Um, it's insane. I think it's one of the craziest things that's ever come out, and it almost feels like a fantasy. It just feels it doesn't feel like this is real life.
yeah.
It's I mean, I'm excited for it, but I'm also kind of like worried. um, but the what I was talking about is the glass. It's a three-dimensionally form laminated glass, and it acts as the optical surface for the cameras and sensors that view the world. It flows seamlessly into a custom aluminum alloy frame that gently curves to wrap around your face while serving as an attachment point for the light seal. The
Yeah.
band on the back of the sensor honestly just reminds me of an Apple Watch band,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
sport one
The Ultra
or
one.
the other ones. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, those are very comfortable.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like my sport. It's very adjustable. I like it. I think we both have the same band. But of course, these are going to be customizable too, and they can be adjusted to for any head. They literally voiced saying that they studied many heads in order to get a comfortable view, a comfortable precision, and a more comfortable experience to use.
I
How
believe
early
that.
this will release? Again, it's early 2024 that will come out. I don't know how many people are going to be using it. I'm just waiting to see the first um like reviews of this all together. But
Yeah.
I was talking to my roommate and he says that some of it we were trying to guess price where exactly where this would be before they announced the price, and we were both talking like one of the best VR products out there is currently sitting at 1,000.
Hmm.
So we were guesstimating like, okay, maybe like 25, but when 3,500 came out, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with those features coming out. I think it's also counting in for people who have glasses who need that
There's a
adjustment.
lot because they also
Yeah.
got it's gonna be their most spatial their most advanced spatial audio system as well. So it's gonna have dual driver audio pods in it. I'm going to assume they're also gonna encourage using AirPods with this. At some point they're gonna be like, oh, for a more enhanced experience, get AirPod Pros to make the spatial audio sound better. It's just like when I think of like because you mentioned you guys were trying to guess it. The moment I saw this, like this is well north of $1,000, because I'm not too familiar with VR. I mean, obviously, I know there's like the Quest out there. There's the Oculus. Obviously, Sony has their gaming like audio, or sorry, their gaming VR. And it's just like I don't know if Microsoft has one, but I'm not too familiar with it. But I mean, like something with Apple, they're always late to the game, but they always tend to have the most to offer, or they tend to have. It's well more perfected. Apple doesn't like to work out the kinks. They're like, hey, let's figure it out before we even before it's even ready to launch. That is one reason why Air Power failed, because they weren't able to work out the kinks in testing. But it's just like, I mean, this. I mean, don't get me wrong. This looks super cool.
You see this potentially being the future of
I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's the death of movie theaters. I think there's always going to be room for people to want to go see an IMAX theater, an IMAX film, Dolby film, regular digital, and even film theater.
4D experience. I mean, some people went to go see The Little Mermaid in 4D and had a blast. They had
Yeah.
back pains, but it was still, immersive.
This
Uh,
is I think the price point is like a deal breaker for, obviously that's not
yeah, that's
you know,
so much. That's more than your average, like your good TV too. And
well,
even then, too, some TVs are priced lower than that, like, way lower.
you can get a 3500, you can get a decent TV at this point. And even multiple, if you,
Too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like depending on, if like, if you know where to, how to shop for TVs. But this is obviously, it's expensive right now. Over the years we're going to see it go down, because obviously the technology is going to be more available. It's funny because I wrote a paper in my junior project, was about the advancements of technology and things that it's going to replace. One of the things that I did mention in it, it's kind of a little off topic, but it was that at some point robots with, that are able to project something like a VR or an augmented reality, we're going to able to replace teachers and replace some sort of scholastic authority. So it's just like, which is crazy to think. It's one of the things I had wrote, I forgot what specifically, but technology devs were talking about how by 2030 we were going to be able to have a full virtual reality / augmented reality that is going to allow you to visit your friend in their own house without even moving a muscle. So we're well on track for this. It seems right on schedule.
Everything that you could possibly have seen in like an MCU movie, and this is all I can think about whenever I saw those,
Thinking of
like,
barf right now.
yeah, are gonna be you're gonna be able to do that in the next coming years. Like that
Yeah,
is where it's going. And it's
yeah.
it's freaky and it's like, is it good? Is it bad? Are we gonna just be more of hermits towards the future? Is that where we're leading to?
I feel like now, as like society, we're well aware to understand that we're going to know for the most part when to put these things down, because at some point we are going to crave that in-person interaction with somebody, as opposed to just something that is completely fake. Obviously this is going to change things of how we interact with people, because when we see them it's going to be a lot less the need to, I need to go out. But like you said, it's a scary, these are scary thoughts to think of, mainly because this is the step in a virtual reality, a
Yeah.
cyberspace is
Who
what you
knows?
should
Our
say.
real addiction will probably be virtually recorded at some point in the
Ooh.
future.
And it's going to be presented like if we're in the same
Yeah.
room, which is going to be even crazier to think. But no, yeah, this is some interesting stuff. I can see
I
Apple,
mean, at
because
this point, Apple has everything: your fingerprints, your voice,
this
and
is
now a full
far.
face recognition as well, too. Like, obviously with iPhone unlocking, there's face recognition and that, but now it can mold a whole model after you and use
Yeah.
it as an avatar while also literally being responsive to what you're saying and how you're doing things with your mannerisms. Like, that is freaky.
Yeah.
And it's just giving
Um,
the possibility of AI more horizon time. Like, it's there.
100%. A little far fetched, just to kind of get, wrap up this episode, but imagine this, because Apple is they've said they're trying to go all in on the movie business. I mean, putting $1 billion into, films to be put out in theater releases. Imagine when Apple starts creating their own theaters and you are going to receive a VR headset
Oh
for
my
every
God.
film that you're seeing. Like, that's something realistic that I could see happening. Or even a virtual reality, and the way to access it is through purchasing their VR headset.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yikes. Close us off, man.
All right, guys, that is going to do it. Thank you, as always, for listening or watching. If you haven't again already, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we are in season 3. Season 3 is fully in Admiss. And before you know it, we are going to have skits coming soon as well because we do have a couple things planned. We're looking at, I'll say it right now, we're looking at like an October release on when we're going to be putting out a series of skits. We got some things planned that are going to be
Our
fun.
real addiction joins
Yeah.
the movie business.
Yeah, really. We have a couple things, a couple other things planned. But as always, sorry, if you haven't already, check out Movie News Monday. If you haven't also already, check out Across the Spider-Verse spoiler review. TV Inquiry is coming very, very soon as well. And you can obviously catch every episode of Our Real Addiction on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. But yeah, that's going to do it for episode 121.
Yeah, 121.
121. As always, I'm Adam.
And I'm Miguel.
And this was Our Real Addiction, the Sick Parvis Magna.
Sick Parvis Magna, everybody.